Okay, out here with the 2020 KTM 250 SXF, and I really like these bikes. These KTMs are really cool, and I want to talk a little bit about it. So for this motor's kind of been the same-ish since like 16, so it's a long time. But one of the reasons I got connections at KTM, one of the reasons the motor's been the same is because it's pretty good. They haven't been able to make anything that's as durable, that's as good, and so I think it's going to be a while before we see an updated engine with a full updated engine. So they've gotten tweaks on the engine. This bike for 20 has got some updates, mainly the suspension and graphics and little things. So in the suspension they call it Exact, and basically they changed some componentry inside. A few of the little bleeders are updated, which are cool. They changed some settings inside to the forks and the shock. So we're going to try those out and see how those compare to our modified bike that we already have. So we got some updated fork settings. The airbox, they have holes in the airbox now. It's an optional cover you can get that comes with holes in the airbox, because a lot of guys were cutting holes in their KTM or Husqvarnas already. So we got holes, get more air in here. When you wash the bike, you can just throw duct tape on here, keep from getting too much on your air filter. Okay, some of the things we really like about KTMs, that goes for 250, 350, 450, hydraulic clutch, the brakes. Honestly, the stock grips, I've gotten used to these, and I really like them because they're ease of clamping on, so that part's kind of nice, easy deal. They come with good Dunlop tires, and the things all rev to the moon. You can ride them, you don't have to be shifting as often. You can let it rev out, and that's the thing with the KTM that a lot of guys don't do if they're coming off of one of the other Japanese brands of bikes, is they're not used to just letting it rev out. So this bike is really fun, not drastically different than the 19, but that's what we're going to check out right now and see if those little refinements have made it a little better. I think that's it. So let's go ride the thing, put some time on it, and see what Spencer and I think of this thing. Okay, we just hopped off the track. Spencer and I both did a bunch of time on this thing, and riding brand new bikes is always fun. So they're always nice because everything's brand new and nice. This bike's a lot like what we've expected with the 16, 17, 18, 19, and now the 20. A lot of the same things we feel on those, we feel on this. So this thing just feels a little bit, crisper than some of the old ones. The suspension feels amazing. This is the best air fork we've ever ridden. With that said, we'd probably still rather have some good spring forks. I don't know when or if KTM will ever switch with WP. They have the ability and technology because they race on spring forks. They don't race on air forks. So, but they're probably the best air fork that we've ever ridden. It's really good. It's a lot more plush. We have a set of modified FC stuff on 18 out here, modified, and they float a little bit more than that. So you don't have as planted of a feel on the ground, but they are just really plush. They feel really good. So I think the suspension's really good stock. I think it's stock. I would have to say the Yamaha and maybe the Honda are probably better. I like those two bikes better, stock versus stock. So, but this is pretty dang good. Then the motor, I forget. I don't ride a stock 250 motor very often, and so when I do, I forget. It's like, man, you got to really. And then with this bike, it wants to be ridden wide open. And which some guys go, oh, that's not good. But for a vet guy, what's nice is you don't have to shift as often. You can just keep the thing, pinned and don't shift as much. You got to tell yourself, don't shift. And it likes it. Just leave it there. Second wide open, third wide open, it's happy. So that's something you got to do on this thing. Now, as far as the motor goes, it's lacking a little bit of bottom, but the mid and top is insane. That's where it really is happy. So comparing it to, I'm not going to do a direct comparison here, but this bike is a really good bike, and I think you're not going to go wrong with this bike for whatever type of racing or riding you're doing. If you were to say, like, where does it line up with, say, in this class, the Yamaha and the Honda, probably the other close ones, and I'm just saying the Husky's the same as this. It's a little bit different, but we're going to call it basically the same, just little differences. So with the Yamaha, you get better stock suspension and better bottom to mid. And it is revving out better than it is before, but you get that. With this bike, you get the better, I think, overall engine because it's better mid to top. Not as good a suspension. You you do get the hydraulic clutch and way better brakes. Those are really cool features with the KTM that I really like. So, really fun bike. We had a good time trying this thing out. And I don't think you can go wrong with these 250Fs. Who do these fit to? You know, obviously younger kids, you know, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, that's usually who's riding 250Fs. A lot of vet guys are starting to get on 250Fs because they can ride them on the track, and if they're not racing, or not racing really competitively, right, and they just want to go do a lot of moto, a 250F is great because you're not on the edge out there, like where the 450 is eventually gonna bite you. I've always said that. So that's what's nice about a 250F. And I'm also starting to be a little bit believer in a 350 on the track because kind of in between, obviously in between the size of both. So really fun deal. Hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully we'll see you out in the track or trail soon.